Okay, Hudson, these are lessons 27 and 28. So this will be the total of 4 lessons for this week. Here we have solutions of equations. We multiply the outside term by each term inside the parentheses. So it's called distributive property. We got to be careful to multiply this times this and this. So when we multiply these two, we squish them together. So we write x, y, y squared. You see how I just put them all together? Now we're going to write a minus sign. Minus. Now we're going to squish this with this. So we're going to write down xy, x squared, z. Okay, so all I've done is put these all together, put a minus sign right here, and then put this with this. That's how I got this. Okay, now it's time to clean this up because you'll notice there's some duplicates. You shouldn't see 2 y's. You shouldn't see 2 x's. That means they can be multiplied. They can be simplified or combined because this right here becomes xy cubed, right? Because there's an imaginary 1 here and 2 plus 1 is 3. Then we're going to put our minus sign. This will become x cubed yz, right? Because there's a 1 here and then a 2 here. 1 plus 2 is 3. Now we're finished. When there's no duplicates in variables, then we're finished. Okay, let me do one more with you and then you'll try. So, for this one over here, we have 4xy cubed x to the 4th y minus sign. Then you're going to rewrite that outside term again. 4xy cubed 5x. So all I've done is squish these, write a minus sign, and then squish this with this to get that. Okay, time to clean it up, and then I'm finished. This is going to become 4x to the 5th, y to the 4th, minus, you see this 4 and this 5, we're going to multiply them to make them 20, x squared, y cubed. Okay? Because this x and this x became x squared. This x and x to the 4th became x to the 5th. This y cubed and this y became y to the 4th. All right. You try this example. It's the same, right? You're just going this way. Pause it and then come back. Okay. So here we have 2x squared y ay minus, rewrite it again, 2x squared y 4y to the 5th. Now we clean it up. 2x squared y squared a minus 8, because 2 times 4, x squared y to the 6th. How'd you do? Okay, simplifying decimal equations. One way you can simplify to make these numbers more manageable is to move the decimal out of there. It's not really necessary considering I let you use your calculator, so you just follow the same steps, subtract that over here, and then divide by this, right? So we have 4.6, and if we were to subtract 0.4, then we have 0.02 m equals 4.2. And so if you would divide 4.2, 4.2 divided by, what was it, 0.002? 0.02, you get 210. So it's the same stuff with decimals. Okay, so try this on your calculator. Subtract this over here and then divide by 0.002 and see what you get. Did you get 2,000? All right, last lesson of the day. We need to learn how to interpret fractional parts of numbers. Okay, so did you know that of means times and equals means is? Right now, the word problem says 3/4 of what number is 69. So the way you translate that is you write 3/4 of, that means times, and we'll use x for what number. So 3/4 x, 3/4 times what number is 69. Now, in order to find the answer to that, we must flip and multiply. So we have 4/3 and 4/3, right? So it goes away there. And this works out nicely because this can cross reduce. 3 can go into 69 23 times. So then we can do x equals 4 times 3 is 12, 1, 8, 92. So all I did was 23 times 4, which is 92. Okay, this one says, what fraction of 40 is 24? So we can say what fraction, meaning x of, so 40 times 40 is 24. You see what I did there? So it's what, that's the x, times 40 equals 24. So now we can solve it by dividing by 40 on both sides to get x alone. So x is equal to, and we can reduce this, half of 24 is 12, and half of 40 is 20. But we can reduce again, so that's 6/10, or again, 3/5. Okay, 2 1/4 of 240 is what number? So I would go ahead and make this an improper. So 9/4 of means times is what number? So I just translated that. Turn that into improper. Multiply means of 240, so times 240 equals x. Once again, I can cross reduce, which is lovely. That becomes 60. So then I know that x is 540. Okay, functional notation. So they call this f of x, and it's just a fancy way of saying y. So this is just a fancy way of saying y. So you have your x and you have your y. The reason why they like to use functional notation is because f of x is a little bit more clear than just y, because it tells you what was plugged in for x. So I'm going to highlight this for you real quick. You see over here where they want you to find f of 2? Do you notice how the 2 is in the x's spot? That means they want you to plug a 2 in where you see x in the equation. So what it's saying is f of 2. So the function of f, when I plug in 2 everywhere I see an x. So I'm going to solve this carefully. Remember, we do the inside first. So we have 4 minus 6. So 2 times a negative 2, which is negative 4. So try this one down here. They want you to plug in a negative 2 everywhere you see an x. So pause it and give it a shot. All right, so g of negative 2 means negative 2 squared times 2 times negative 2 minus 1. All right, so negative 2 times negative 2 is a 4. 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4 minus 1. So we have 4 times negative 5, which is equal to a negative 20. How'd you do? All right, go ahead and continue on with your homework, and I'll see you the following week when I get back from my trip.